Max Ma'am video on specialized driving privileges, also referred to as SDP, for Indiana. Let me make it clear, I'm an attorney, John Tompkins, licensed to practice in the state of Indiana. I'm not licensed in any other state. And this video is not intended as legal advice, but simply as information about how to pursue SDP, specialized driving privileges, also known as a hardship license, for Indiana privileges. So if you have a suspension from another state, this information will not be useful to you. But if you have a license in another state, while your privileges to drive are suspended in Indiana, this information could be useful to you. And obviously, if you have an Indiana license and you're suspended in Indiana, this information is directly intended for you. So what are specialized driving privileges? Specialized driving privileges is basically a hardship license that can last for the entire duration of almost any suspension. The suspensions that do not qualify for specialized driving privileges are refusal suspensions. So if you've been stopped and investigated for an operating while intoxicated, and they have claimed that you are in a refusal suspension, you will not be able to get specialized driving privileges until that suspension is over or there's an agreement to terminate it. The other type of suspension where you are unlikely to get specialized driving privileges is if you're suspended because of an incident that caused serious bodily injury or death. The other two types of suspensions generally are administrative, or imposed by the BMV, and judicial, or imposed by a court. If you have been suspended by the BMV, and that can include things like points suspensions, no insurance suspensions, or habitual traffic violator suspensions, then you go to the circuit court or superior court in the county where you live and petition for specialized driving privileges. If, on the other hand, a court has imposed a suspension on you for some type of conviction, for driving while suspended, for instance, or speeding, or operating while intoxicated, or driving recklessly, then that court that imposed the suspension is the same court where you will go to seek specialized driving privileges. There's one slight exception to this. Where you have a 180-day chemical test failure suspension, then you do go to the court where the OWI is pending, even though it's an administrative suspension. Regardless, wherever you need to go, the petition that you fill out and the order that is signed is the same, and then that is forwarded to the BMV. What you're seeing now in this video is an actual order for specialized driving privileges being filled out by my assistant, Ben. Please keep in mind, he is going off of the information that one of my clients has provided to him, written into the form that we provided to that client. So, if you're one of my clients and you're doing that, please print legibly. Ben will very much appreciate it. So that's the start of the process. You know you have a suspension, you come and see an attorney. It's me, we give you a blank order to fill out. And fill it out with as much driving as you need. Be liberal here. Ask for everything you want. Let the judge make the decision on what is appropriate. Don't be silly about it. Don't ask to go to parties and things like that. But if you need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week because you're an on-call employee like a plumber reacting to frozen pipes or a doctor going in on call, then ask for exactly that. The privileges don't let you drive 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They would simply let you drive anytime, any day that you needed to drive for work. So it has to be both an approved time and day and an approved activity. You can see from the form that Ben filled out that we have several activity categories. So childcare, medical needs, counseling, probation appointments, attorney office appointments, court dates, those types of driving, mandatory, necessary things, not frivolous things, will be included in your request for specialized driving privileges. Once we have the order filled out based on the information that you gave us, we make a petition and submit that to the court that is appropriate. The court then sets a hearing, we appear in front of the judge, and again, if you've asked for a lot of driving, the judge may have questions. Just be ready to answer those questions. Most judges want you to be legal in driving, so they're just going to ask to make sure that it's a legitimate request and there's good reason for it. Once the judge signs the order, it will be electronically transmitted to the BMV. Now, it can be several days before the BMV gets that order processed, and your driving privileges change from suspended to conditional. There will be an end date on your order. When that date comes, your privileges will automatically go back to normal driving privileges unless there's some other suspension in place, or you may owe fees or have some insurance issues that you need to clear up with the BMV. During the time that you have specialized driving privileges, you must keep the order with you at all times in any car that you are driving. Now, it can be a written copy of the order. If you do that, you should probably have a Ziploc bag or some kind of protector for it. Or it can be a digital copy. So you can have it emailed to you from my office, or you could email it to yourself and keep it in your phone. So if an officer ever stops you and you're driving any car, you're able to produce that order and show him that you're in one of the times that's approved and you're engaged in one of the activities that has been approved. What about insurance? A lot of people ask me about that. Well, because I don't know the exact reason that you might be suspended and whether it's a court suspension or a bureau suspension, and I don't know which insurance company carries your insurance, I can't really tell you what's going to happen with your insurance or if they'll even find out about your suspension. But I can tell you the BMV might want you to get what's called an SR22 when you start driving again. An SR22 is not additional insurance. It's a form or certificate that requires the insurance company to tell the Bureau of Motor Vehicles if your insurance lapses during a certain period of time, usually 2 or 3 years after your suspension. If your insurance lapses, you'll go back into a suspended status until you get to the BMV and have your insurance company inform them that you have insurance back in place. So again, if you're required to have an SR22, it just means don't let your insurance lapse. And if it does, quickly get it back in place and make sure your insurance company tells the BMV that it's back in place. Well, I hope that's answered your questions about specialized driving privileges and when you can get them. If you have any other questions or questions about other topics, submit them to us and we'll try to do a video to answer those questions. Thank you very much. This is John Tompkins with just a few of the facts. Thank you.